Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you are wondering, where does Donald Trump get off trying to be the Republican candidate? All I can tell you is perhaps it's a higher power than any one of us could imagine. And here is Michele Bachmann. I don't know, what is Michele Bachmann doing these days? I mean, besides going on the Christian Broadcasting Network, Brody's File, and telling us from whence Donald Trump came.
A lot of people of faith have his ear. And one thing I know about Donald Trump is that he wants to know. He genuinely wants to know what people have to say, and he takes it in. That's why he wins, because he tries to come to the best possible conclusion, and then he takes something that didn't work, like the Commodore Hotel, and it works. That was his first big development project. All through his life, that's what he's done. So I'm really happy to know who he surrounded himself. If you look at Barack Obama by contrast, if you look at Hillary Clinton by contrast, tell me where the strong people of Orthodox Christian faith or Orthodox Jewish faith who believe that the Bible is true, who believe that God is who he says who he is, who believe that the Bible is the authoritative word of God. Look at the number of people who advise Hillary who believe that. I don't know of any. Maybe she has some. I don't know of any. But I look at Donald Trump, Ben Carson, solid as a rock. Mike Huckabee, solid as a rock. He's got great people like that surrounding him. Jerry Falwell Jr., whom I love. Franklin Graham, who would you get anybody better? Dr. James Dobson, who I just absolutely love. Dr. David Jeremiah. I mean, he's got fabulous people speaking into his ear. That's a good day. And I think that's where we have to recognize we're not going to get everything we want, but we have to overlook a certain amount because we're going to get a whole lot more. And this is one thing I know from the book of Daniel. The bottom line of the book of Daniel is this. It teaches us that the Most High God lifts up who he will and takes down who he will. And I look at this primary race that the Republicans had, 17 great candidates. I actually supported Ted Cruz. I thought he was fabulous. But I also see that at the end of the day, God raised up, I believe, Donald Trump, who was going to be the nominee in this election. I don't think God sits things out. He's a sovereign God.
Now, here's the weird part about that. All right, let's just for a moment pretend that we're all as crazy as Michele Bachmann and that we subscribe to the idea like, look at all the fundamentalists who have Donald Trump's ear. That's a good day. There's no fundamentalists who have Hillary Clinton. And then she basically says, like, look, God is totally active. Like he is basically picking the nominee. We vote, but that's just because God tells us to do. Now, if that's the logic, that the sovereign God is that involved, I mean, in the primaries, surely God must show up for the general election. And if that's the case, God just gave us Barack Obama for 8 years. Does that mean God is a Muslim?
Allahu Akbar. Hey, Michelle, this is God. Go fuck yourself.
I mean, I understand, like, okay, look, I get you can believe a certain fairy tale if you want. And with all due respect, if you do believe it, then fine. Let's just say they're all fairy tales, okay? The fact that God doesn't exist is a fairy tale. The fact that he does. The fact that it's a he is a fairy tale. That it's not a she. Maybe a she exists. But if you're going to say that God is picking the nominee of the Republican Party, aren't you going to give God credit for also saying who's going to be the president? Like, that's like God's up there going like,
look, I do primaries, okay?
I'll do primaries, but I won't get involved in the general election. I don't feel it's right.
In Angels in the Outfield, the Angels aren't there for the World Series.
Is that right?
Ooh, look at the brains on that.
So I do listen. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I do the playoffs, and I do some of the regular season games. some really crucial ones in the playoffs. But I never mess with the World Series. I just won't do it. I just won't. I just feel that's too much of an imposition. And so that's the way I do it. I do the primaries, and I do one or two, like, sort of swing states.
It
Like,
becomes
I'll
a
do-
mockery of free will if I do more than that.
In 2008, I did West Virginia, and I felt like that was too much. It was too much. So now I stay like on the, like, maybe I'll dabble with Georgia this year.
I mean, honestly, though, from a Republican
But I'm not
perspective,
going to do Florida. I'm not
I
going
mean,
to do
Mitt Romney
Ohio.
can't do better. I mean, I can give you a little push, but the 47% video, I can't make up for that.
I mean, I could, but I just don't think it's right.
At a certain point, you got to pay the consequences for your own decisions.
You know what I did do? I will say this. I did that fifth vote on the Supreme Court.
That was
I
a
did
tough.
that one.
It was
It
a
one
gimme.
person. It was one person. I just said, I woke Sandra Day up in the middle of the night, and I just whispered in her ear, and I said, "Go for it. You have my permission."
And she
And
still
boom.
regrets it. That's how bad it was. But
Yeah,
I
no,
just wanted.
that's the thing. She was right on the margin. It was just one of those things. He was like, "Hey, should I not? Should I do it?" Blah, blah. And I just put a little bit. I didn't even put a thumb. I just put like the corner of my pinky. And that's what did it. And so that I'll do. But I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do the heavy lifting.
It wasn't even a policy thing. I just wanted the pleasure of watching Al Gore be like, I respect the Supreme Court. And I was giggling and laughing as he suffered.
You know who I really wanted to fuck over was that Joe Lieberman. He's such an ass.
Such a
And I
sanctimonious
got news for you.
sociopath. And you don't think he's worse than George W. Bush? Get educated.
Joe Lieberman doesn't think I can see who's giving to the Brotherhood at the Harvard Temple Sinai. I can. I can do that. I'm not going to change the ledger.
He's like Daryl in Coming to America. And I know.
Unbelievable. Hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.